What's up, family? How y'all doing? It's your girl, your diva in knowledge, Lady Mocha. Represent Mocha's Cafe, the Paddlers, where I'm always serving wisdom, knowledge, and spiritual awareness. Big ups to all of my subscribers. I appreciate each and every one of y'all for still being supportive of my movement, of my platform. Those of you who recently subscribed, I welcome you to Mocha's Cafe de Paris family. And if this is your first time ever hearing any of my content ever, and you like what you hear today, please join the movement. Make sure you like, you share, subscribe. You don't have to pay a membership fee here to partake in discussions and sharing your comments. All expenses paid for. It's on me, so you're more than welcome to join and follow my movement and follow my content. So nevertheless, guys, I had to take a break. I didn't upload for a couple of days. I had other things that I really wanted to address. I know I still owe 2 contents that I placed on my community tab about military marriages and also about dysfunctional women who cannot seem to get healthy relationships and healthy marriages, for that matter, coincidentally with all of what's going on. But I haven't forgotten about it. I am going to upload that content. I am going to get on it, of course. We have had a lot of distractions, especially with the situation that went down between Will Smith and Chris Rock at the Oscar Awards. I don't want to really go into that. It's very draining. It's very exhausting. The YouTube streets have polluted it. They have taken up traffic in every lane with this story. However, there was a few things that I would like to address about it, but I don't want to go directly into giving you all the details of the circumstances surrounding it. We already know the basic parts of as to why that situation transpired. There's already been a lot of negativity surrounding Will and Jada's marriage for quite some time. And of course, we know that Chris Rock has always been a comedian that roasts celebrities, that he's not doing anything new. He has not always done. It may have appeared this particular time because there was a special situation going on with Jada that he was nitpicking, but of course, when you're already personally going through something, and if people are not really aware or understand the depth and the dynamics of your current situation, it can seem and appear as if you are being attacked or people are intentionally gunning for you. So it's so many ways we can look at the situation, and I really don't care. I can't really say who's wrong or who's right in the situation. But I will say this. I don't think Chris Rock being physically assaulted was warranted. I'm not going to co-sign on that. I'm not going to agree with that. It has nothing to do with a black man is protecting black women. Will Smith is not our savior. He was doing what husbands do. He was being a savior to his wife, and that was it. There's been a lot of people taking this situation and spinning their own narratives out of it. You have the bitter brotherhood community, the red rage pill brothers that are using the situation to promote their own narratives, that this is what happens as a black man. If you let your wife tell you what to do, you let your wife lead you. Black women are the demise of a black man's career. Then you have the bitter sisterhood committee. They're no better. They're saying this is what black men need to do. Like Will Smith is a mascot for protecting black women. More black men need to protect black women like this. And everybody is taking their own narratives from this situation, and that is the only reason they're making content. It's not for them to really teach anything edifying or anything meaningful. It's about, I want to use this situation to promote my own narratives, to make my narratives make sense surrounding this particular situation at hand. So again, even as a subscriber, when you're listening to these different people, you can't let people pollute your judgment based on their own personal narratives. You can't have a tunnel vision. You can't look at things one way and one way only and adopt an immediate or final conclusion based on other people's narratives. So I'm not going to go deep into that, but I will say I don't agree with Will Smith physically attacking this man. It was not warranted. He could have addressed this in a better, more professional manner. And I will say Chris Rock definitely handled the situation very diligently. He kept his composure, he kept his restraint, and I really admire him for keeping his composure. Now, whether if he was keeping his composure because he was shocked or keeping his composure because he just trained himself into being able to deal with hecklers or whatever the case may be. Whatever the case is, I admire his restraint and his resilience to keep pushing and pressing. And not everybody has the gift of God to be able to do that. I know I would have not, but we can go back and forth all day about who was right, who was wrong. The black man was protecting his black wife, or Will is being a simp for black women, and this is why black men don't need to get married because they start simple for black women. So y'all can miss me with all the narratives. I don't care about all that. But what I do care about is the subject at hand for me that hits more close to home, and that is toxic marriages can impact your health and mental well-being. So as I go further into this, um, I want to address and speak upon, a little bit more regarding the situation. Like I said, I'm not going to go into all the specific details. It's basically, is going virtual, it's all over the social media. So we already know the basics of the situation, but keep in mind superstars, religious figures, gays, overweight people, Asians, interracial couples, people with diseases, you get the point, have been the butt of what many would consider uncomfortable, way out of bounds jokes for years on national TV from all types of comedians. What we saw that particular night was the result of a man's suppressed frustration from years of public embarrassment as it relates to his marriage and personal life. That unfortunate slap of outburst was just the tip, what we see of the iceberg of a bigger underlying problem, which is the things that we cannot see. Chris Rock, a comedian, became the fall guy for a deeper pain and problem. Some teachers or employer is taking heat this week from some student or employee personal at home problems. Someone is locked up in jail right now because they couldn't control their emotions. Someone is in an early grave because someone could not control their emotions. Most of us wouldn't bounce back from what occurred that night at the Oscars. That would be it for our career. So I hope none of us try that at home. The generation shuns accountability at our own demise. We need accountability partners and not just yes men, no matter what your status is. Some of us need a Jethro in our life, like Moses, who said the thing you are doing is not good, or Tyler Perry and Denzel Washington, who are proverbial brothers keepers to say, yo, bro, there is a better way. So we don't need social media canes that gives the type of advice that has the power to kill you and your career, saying stuff like do whatever feels right to you, do you, bro. I wish we could defend our brothers and sisters who sit right next to us every week with the same tenacity. We do with these people. We will never be in the same room with them. So people are dealing with some real junk trauma all around us. So you will definitely be surprised that you can easily become a victim of a drive-by, basically, and the bullet's not for you. It's already in it's intense situation. You have a lot of people that are walking around on edge. You have a lot of people that are going through some personal traumas and going through some personal toxic situation, and they're basically walking around like ticking time bombs. It's like they're walking around with their guns loaded with ammo, just waiting for somebody to come off wrong, just waiting for somebody to say the wrong thing. And don't let it be something that hits close to home. That's already a situation that's already personal. And you know what I mean by situations. That special thing that's very uncomfortable. You don't want nobody to discuss it. It's that special thing that you you sit on, you don't talk about it around people, and people who do know about it, you don't want them bringing it up, or taking it out, or making an example out of it. We all have that elephant in the room. It's that one uncomfortable thing. And if that one person even gives an incentive that they want to talk about it, or an incentive that they're going to expose it, or they're going to add their own narratives to it, it immediately is a red flag situation. And if anybody even comes close to even speaking upon it, addressing it, you are ready to start shooting every bullets that's in your chamber. So that's basically what I feel was going on with this whole situation. Again, we don't have to go into all the details. We already know Will Smith and Jada Pinkett has had a lot of issues surrounding their marriages for years. We all know, if you haven't known, Jada Pinkett initially did not want to be married. She was not for marriage. It was something that her mother had talked her into doing, or people who loved her talked her into doing. And this happens with a lot of women. I know another female who experienced the same thing. She really didn't want to marry the guy that was in love with her, but because he had a military career, he was a provider, making money, being that her mother struggled, being that her aunt struggled, everybody pushed her to marry this man. And she, in her heart, she wasn't feeling him like that. And she told me this. She was like, I only married him because everybody kept saying, girl, there's not that many choices out here, it's not that many options. Man, this man has a career, he's making money, he's going to get you out the slums. So she married him off the strength of other women who were lonely and desperate, and saw a golden opportunity for her, especially these old bats, these old coons, these retired hood rats. They see an opportunity for their daughters. They see an opportunity for their nieces. They see an opportunity that a young woman could benefit from. And they too, once upon a time, probably had that opportunity. But either at that point in time, they felt like they was too good for the guy, or they still didn't want to retire from their whole days, or maybe they did look up and get a good guy, but they dogged him, felt like he was weak, and ragged him, lost him, ended up going out there, back out there into the dating world, picking up guys far worse. That was nothing like the guy that she considered a square, that was really an ideal man, a good man that would have been an asset to her. So a lot of older women who know they have failed themselves in relationships, and they see their daughters or younger women about to pass up a good guy that young woman considers as a square, it irks older women. And what it does is, if she feels she can't convince or persuade that young woman into being with that man because he's successful, he's a good provider, you know what, the heart is going to do what it wants. You know what I'm saying? No matter how somebody forces you and tell you you need to be with somebody, you'll be with them. But if your heart isn't in it, it's eventually going to fail, or it's going to be a lot of disrespect. There's going to be a lot of unfortunate things that woman is going to allow to take place in a relationship, because she really didn't want him to begin with. So um because of that, this same young lady who didn't want this young man that I told you about, she dogged him. She took him through a lot. Even in the process of having his children, she tried to play the part. She tried to play the role to make everybody in her family happy, but she wasn't feeling him. He was a nice guy, great provider, but in her mind, he was considered a square. And the man she really wanted was the no good dude who kind of dragged her and took her through changes. And the funny part was, he was her first child's father. So the square dude, or the good guy, who loved her so much, he was willing to accept her and her child from another man that wasn't his. But he was so wide open to her because of her looks, whatever the case was. He was very drawn and fascinated with her, and she wasn't fascinated with him the same way, but she used it to her advantage. So the fact that he was willing to be with her and accept her child that wasn't his, be the captain, save him, and rescue her. She only was with him because he rescued her, not because she sincerely loved him. So you have a lot of people that are in marriages and it's not for the right reasons. It's not because they sincerely love. It's not because they sincerely want to be with that person, but it has everything to do with convenience and the fact that some people have all the abilities of being a husband. They got the qualities and they play the position well, but just because you play the position, it does not mean the person that's allowing you to play that position is genuinely in love with you. She may not be in love with you. She just loves the fact that you are convenient, that you are willing to sacrifice and pick up the pieces where the last man left off, or whatever the case. It's several factors. We could pull up 1,000 scenarios as to what that reason is, but basically, Jada Pinkett did not want to get married. She was 3 months pregnant with their first son, Jaden, at that time. So that also kind of motivated her to marry him. And then they said when she agreed to the marriage that she wanted to keep her name still, so she still wanted to hold on to that independence. So um, her heart wasn't nowhere in it like Will's was. And it's not to say that she didn't love him or did not have a love for him, but um they really wasn't on the same accord. As far their heartstrings was not on the same accord. And it's several marriages that are like that. And like, again, this is just my assumption. I don't have any facts. I don't sit and talk to Jada or Will. I don't have connections like that to have an interview with them to really dissect what's going on in their marriage. But this is just my personal intake. I'm no relationship expert, but I have been married for 22 years and I have taken classes in psychology. I've also taken classes in family dysfunction and structure in the Black community. So I do have a little bit of receipts to prove that I have some knowledge as to what I'm speaking upon. But nevertheless, there's been a lot of issues surrounding their marriage. And I say all that to say this because, again, everybody is just more focused on Will, him, slapping Chris Rock, and the fact that he's defending a woman who has disrespected him multiple times. Everybody is picking and choosing what they want to focus on. But this is what I wanted to address regarding the situation, is that, toxic marriages can impact your health and mental well-being. And basically, if anybody was really listening and not just paying attention to the parts that were beneficial to them, they would pick up on what's really going on and not just pick out the parts that they want to highlight the most. And if you really read in between the lines, Will is basically crying out for help. And I think he's done everything he could possibly do to try to stay sane and keep up this united front, to try to make it seem as if he has it all together, and it's taking a toll on him. And anytime you've been in a marriage for a long, significant amount of years, we're not talking about 2 3 years, we're talking about at least 10 years or more, at least 1 century. Anybody who has been married for a long time, and those especially marriages that have had experienced collateral damage like adultery, infidelity, anything to that level of extreme of betrayal, they can tell you it definitely takes an emotional toll on your health and mental well-being. Now, this is one of the reasons why you have so many people that are discouraging others from marriage. I listen, I do a drive-by every once in a while with some of these content creators, and I listen to men and women that are both so hell strong on teaching the narratives of being against marriage. You have black women that are telling other black women not to marry. If they do marry someone outside of the black race. It's the same thing with the males, with the men that are also in the sector, that are also encouraging or discouraging other men from marriage, letting them know that, making them feel as if once they are married, they automatically become a slave to a black woman's desires, to her wants, and to her needs. There's a lot of misconceptions, and I find it ironic because most of the people that have an opinion on marriage, they never been married. These are the ones that are telling black men not to get married, telling black women not to get married, and they've never been married. Or if they never been married, they're on their second or third or fourth marriage, but they have all the answers. They're experts. And people who have been married for a long, significant amount of time can tell you marriage is not a walk in the park. And I agree, marriage is not for everybody. Marriage is an anointing, and everybody's not anointed. Everybody does not have the gift to be a good husband, the gift to be a good wife. And the world has pretty much given us the wrong indications as to what is considered as a good husband, what is considered as a good wife. I listen to a lot of these off-brand dating experts in the YouTube sector, or these women, these dating coach women, or these relationship guru coaches that have all the knowledge supposedly, and they're misleading our people, and they're leading them into destruction because they're setting them up for false hopes. They're giving them unrealistic expectations. You have men that are telling other men, your wife should be a 9, she should be in perfect shape, she should be of another race. They're polluting other young men who could possibly become great husbands, who can possibly become a blessing to women that are worth being married to. They're tarnishing something that God has designed to be so beautiful, and they're making it for bad. And it's not just the men that are polluting other young men into these unrealistic expectations that your wife has to look a certain way, she has to be a certain way in order to be qualified as a wife. And the women are no exceptions to the rules. They're polluting other young women into securing the bag and basically telling them, hey, if he's not making no money, he cannot provide for you. If he don't have a car, he don't have this, he don't have that. He doesn't work in the industry. You know, he's not husband material. He don't make a certain amount of money. And this is the reason why it's going to be so many young men and young women. They're going to have a difficult time out there once they become old enough and mature and get into the dating world and start seeking a potential soulmate. They're going to have a really hard time because of all these illusions that are programmed into their mindset from YouTube, from Twitter, from Instagram. You know, you got all these women that are going to the extreme, getting all type of surgeries done to their bodies because they want to fit that perfect persona of being a trophy wife, fixing their body, but at the same time, their mindset, there's still no growth, you know. And the same thing, you can teach men to go out here and hustle and to make more money. The more money they make, the better chances of them getting a good woman. But if his mindset is damaged and he's a dysfunctional ass dude, it doesn't matter how many women he meets. He's going to constantly be on the ins and outs of potentially getting a good woman because he has a lot of dysfunction. And the problem with the black community is we only want to place dysfunction on people who we have the problem with. You have men that are teaching other men that only black women or only women are dysfunctional creatures, or you have the women teaching women teaching other women that men are the ones that are dysfunctional and have mental issues. But the truth of the matter is, anybody that is broken, regardless, brokenness does not have a color or a gender. You could be broken and have dysfunction if you're Mexican, Puerto Rican, Jamaican, black, white, European, Brazilian, Venezuelan. Dysfunction comes on so many levels. And the thing is this: once you have programmed your mind to not like a certain gender or to not like a certain race, you're going to find fault in it anyway. If I've already given up on a probability of dating black men, I'm gonna find fault in one, even if he is the ideal candidate that would be compatible for me. I'm going to look for something. I'm going to make it my business to find something wrong with him, just so I can feel justified on not choosing him, only to go out and date other men of other races and still find out there's no connection, still find out men of other races are also assholes, also cheaters, also liars, whatever, whatever. Instead of you focusing on the person's character, you're allowing these programmed narratives to cloud your judgment as to what is the right man or right woman for you. But let's go into talking about the toxic marriages, how they can impact your health and your mental well-being. Marriage is not a bad thing. I will repeat that again. Marriage is not bad. It's the person who you choose to marry that can make marriage bad. And that's the part that a lot of people are getting misconstrued. Marriage is not bad. Choosing and selecting the wrong date can make marriage bad. So, like everyone else, I had my own opinions on the whole situation that went down. And I listened to several other people, but it was more to the situation that stood out for me. And this is why I'm speaking on this particular topic, because as Will Smith was giving his speech, and he's up there in tears, and now he's feeling, now that he done come off of his high, he's feeling the embarrassment, the shame, and he knew right at this point in time he was going to have to address it. He was going to have to say something, because damage had already been done. So at this point, he tried to do what was called damage control. And in the statement he gave, it was a lot of deflecting. It really wasn't any accountability. But he did take accountability, but he took accountability for what he wanted to take it for, which was just the guest in the Oscars, Richard, the man who role he played as Venus and Serena's father. He only took accountability for certain people, when the main person he should have took accountability for was how he attacked Chris Rock. He did not take accountability till the next day, when the high wore off and all of the backlash he's been getting. Now, keep in mind, a lot of people have been rocking with Will. A lot of people still are rocking with Will. You have a lot of people that are co-signing what Will did. They are co-signing the way he physical assaulted this man. And basically, a lot of, I noticed more so women, felt like he deserved it. You had men, on the other hand, who felt like, okay, it was okay to defend your wife, but you took that too far. Or you allowed your wife, you was laughing, it was a joke to you, and you had nothing, you saw nothing wrong with it initially. But when you looked over, you allowed your woman to alter what you originally perceived as a joke. You allow her to alter you into her making you believe she felt insulted. So right then and there, at that moment, you knew you had to prove your masculinity, because again, there's so much negativity being surrounded around you, your wife, your marriage. Everybody's been making a mockery out of it, especially since the situation with August Alsina and Jada not wanting to really take full accountability by reducing it to something as simple as an entanglement, when the whole truth of the matter was, I was ucking another man. I was smashing this man. I was sexually involved with this young man, with my son's friend. Now, as much as people want to give Jada Pinkett credit for being transparent, because she has all this red table talk and all this other stuff, she's learned how to be transparent in her own conniving, manipulative, narcissistic way. Now, women, y'all can sit up here and co-sign for her all you want, but I'm not going to co-sign for a woman just because she's a woman. And even though a man does have a right to defend his wife, I, on the other hand, I would have been trying to pull mine back because I'm thinking of the future. I'm thinking of his future. I would not want his legacy ruined. We fought, we picketed, we boycotted. People not going to the boycott because nobody was recognizing my husband and giving him an Oscar. Now, this night that we fought so hard for, I'm going to allow him to throw it all down the drain over joke, insult, whatever you want to call it. No, we would have dealt with Mr. Rock later, and I guarantee you had they allowed that to pass and go over their head, nobody wouldn't have thought nothing of it. But I definitely would have got Mr. Rock right together in due time. I would have made sure me and my husband would have unleashed on him in a more professional, correct manner. Because that night, Will had already owned that night. That night belonged to him, and it should have only been about him. Even as a wife, sometimes we have to put our pride aside and look at what's going to benefit us and our husbands later on down the line. Now, there's been times I got in situations in which I was emotional and I could have made a big scene out of either I was disrespected or my husband was disrespected. I could have made a scene. I could have turned up, or I could have got him to turn up. But then again, my husband, he's always been a logical thinker. So even when I'm turned up, he knows how to soothe me and calm me down and make me rationalize, okay, before you go do this and do that, this is what we have to do. So you both have to always look past the moment. And this comes from years of training each other and grooming each other to learn how to gain control over your emotions. In initial beginning, I was always the one that had very little control. And that was a weakness for me. But my husband, on the other hand, he had more strength in that area than I did, and vice versa. And it's been times when he wanted to turn up and I had to bring him down. So you both have to bring each other that balance. Somebody has to use their head. It makes no, it adds more fuel to the fire. If both of y'all are in the heat of the moment and both of you are willing to pour gasoline when the fire is already in full flames, somebody got to be the bigger person and say, wait a minute, right now, I know we mad, I know we upset, but we're going to have to think. We're going to have to deal with this a different way. But nevertheless, that was Will's night. He already was getting something she fought so hard for him to get. And that just should have been that night, that incident. They should have not allowed that to overshadow something more greater, which was Will's legacy. Because again, I have empathy for alopecia. Women who experience it, is every woman's crown and glory. But truth be told, that could have been dealt with in a different manner. It did not warrant, because what's going to happen is, I just think it's going to get worse. He did all of that so Chris Rock could stop talking about his wife. But now what has happened, y'all, is everybody is talking about Jada even worse. If you go on YouTube and put in Corey Holcomb, oh my gosh, he's dragging Jada. There's another white comedian, I forgot his name. He's on he's on YouTube also. And he's dragging Jada Pinkett as well. So it's kind of like, once you let people know, once you put it out there, what's dear to you, what's dear to your heart, Some people will respect it, and you have others, they'll just poke the bear even more. You have some people, once they know what upsets you, once they know, the weakness, once that people know your weaknesses, which is you getting offensive the moment somebody says something about your wife, some people, they'll just attack you even more in that area. They'll just attack you even more. So if he did this, so people, because I'm sure when he told Mr. Rock, keep my wife's name out your mother effing mouth, that was for everybody. Trust and believe. He didn't just say that loud across the room for everybody to hear. That message was for everybody. But it's just that all of this was just straight up displaced anger. Now, it's two things that could have went on with two things that's going on with the situation between Will and Jada. One, Jada probably has something way more severe than what they're telling us. Who's to say the doctor told them how severe her medical condition is? She only has X amount of time to live. Maybe that's what made him lash out in that manner, or it's just straight up displaced anger, with all of the events that have all the negative events that have been surrounding their marriage, finally got him to that boiling point, and he knew it was easier to attack Chris Rock because of, for one, for where they were. It wasn't like they was in the street. He was going to be protected. He was at the Oscar Awards. There was security there. So he made sure if he wanted to make his point, he was in a position in which Chris Rock really was restricted on being able to retaliate. And, I just really feel it had to be one or the other. Something really deep is going on, or either is got to a breaking point now in which Will just cannot take people making a mockery out of his marriage anymore. And he basically says that in his acceptance speech. He says, I'm being called on in my life to love people and to protect people and to be a river to my people. And I know to do what we do, we've got to be able to take abuse, and you've got to be able to have people talk crazy about you. In this business, you've got to be able to have some people disrespecting you, and you've got to smile and pretend like that's okay. Now, this was the main part that really spoke out to me more than just the slap, more than just the Oscar awards. And let me tell y'all something. I hate the Oscars awards. I've been stopped watching that stuff years ago. I don't watch MTV. I don't watch Lady of Soul. I don't watch Soul Train. I've been stopped watching awards. I haven't watched them for years. MTV, Source Awards. I haven't watched it for years. When everybody be talking about it all on, Instagram and Twitter, I be watching something totally different. I be watching Golden Girls. I be watching Martin. I just have no interest in it because it's nothing but a lot of high class, arrogant, high society, rich people, the same people who win every year, wearing, overpriced designer labels. It just doesn't do anything for me. I have no interest in it. When people bring it up, have you watched the Oscars? Do you watch the Oscars? No, I do not. There's nothing interesting to me about the Oscars. I only found out about this because I was on the phone with my father, and his wife watches it, and she was the one who, approached my father and was like, oh man, Chris Rock, da, 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 this and that. So that's how I found out about it, because to me it's just garbage. Anyway, I don't like Oscars. I don't like none of that stuff. So, but the biggest part that stood out to me the most, and that's why it's imperative that we discuss toxic marriages, how it can impact your health and mental well-being, was when he said, you've got to smile and pretend like everything's okay in this particular business. You've got to be able to have people disrespecting you, and you got to smile and pretend like that's okay. And you know what? To me, it sounds like that is what Will Smith has been using as a defense mechanism. That has been his coping mechanism for years, even throughout his marriage, to smile and pretend that he's okay. And you know what? He did that very thing when they were on the Red Table Talk. That's Jada Pickett's show, in which she's so transparent. She's even had Will Smith ex-wife on there. She allows people to come to her show, which was pretty good, I might add. And they're very open, very transparent. And she took it upon herself. And this is the reason why the world is making such a mockery out of their marriage. Everybody's saying, stay out their marriage. You don't know their business. Why is you opinionating? You don't know them like that. Well, the problem is they were the ones who put it out there. And this is the reason why everybody has been able to make their own judgment, because they were the ones who put that out there. And actually, I don't think they want to put out there. They didn't have a choice. When August Alsina exposed the entanglement between him and Jada, and the fact that Will gave him his blessings, that really made people look at them and get them side-eye. You got to realize a lot of people idolize Will and Jada. They were one of the power couples that everybody respected the most because they've been together so long. You never heard any troubles, no controversies surrounding their marriage. And when that situation with the entanglement came out, it just really, put their marriage in a bad spotlight. You got to be prepared. If you're going to be transparent and share your marital issues, or you're willing to explain when other people exploit it, because even if August Alsina put it out there, she didn't really have to go in and explain it. It just added more fuel to the fire, because now everybody's been running with that narrative. So, even during that interview, if you go back and you watch it, and her and Will was on her show at the Red Table Talk, talking together amongst each other. And this show was publicly displayed. You can tell, even when she was explaining the entanglement, you could see the hurt in Will Smith's face. You could see the hurt in his eyes. And it's like, this is what this man has been doing the majority of his marriage. Smile and pretend like that's okay. But underneath that hard exterior, outside exterior, internally, you are breaking. You're shattering. You're on the urge of a nervous breakdown. And I think Will has put himself in a position in which, because he is a husband, because he is a star, a celebrity, and a father, and even more so a man, because men are told you're not supposed to be emotional. You're not supposed to come off as weak, like you can't handle your business. And so all of these different pressures, and especially being in the spotlight, it finally hit its breaking point. It finally hit its breaking point. And again, we don't know it all. People, like my mom says this all the time, nothing is ever how it looks. Nothing is never how it looks. So we don't know what other personal stuff they're dealing with besides just her medical issues, her alopecia, the entanglement. We don't know what other issues are involved. And for whatever reason, he chose this particular night to lash out. He didn't use that energy when August Alsina put him and his wife's business out there. He several times he had an opportunity to lash out and really, put somebody in their place about it. This was the time he chose. And again, it's all because there's displaced anger. And this is the reason why, if I have a situation with somebody, whether if it's a friend or a family member, and it's a small understanding, and they want to take it and run with it, they want to take it and lash out and curse and be disrespectful and all of that, all it is, it's other personal things going on with that person. And you have to realize, a lot of us have fell prey to becoming a miserable person's victim. On your job, you may have had that boss, that supervisor who comes in talking nasty to you, who comes in doing too much, doing the most. It's because, and you have not done anything major to that person. You haven't really disrespected that person. It's because there's a lot of underlying issues. And a lot of us, every day, you may meet somebody on YouTube and think y'all the best of friends, and over a certain misunderstanding, this person gets offensive. Instead of them being man or woman enough to come to you, they want to take that one misunderstanding and run with it and go off. And you like a deer in the headlight. You not understanding what's called, what provoked this person. It's because it's not even so much you provoking people. You have a lot of miserable individuals that are walking time ticking bombs. They're just waiting for the moment for someone to poke the barrel, to say something, anything. They're looking for any given moment to do what Will did, which is lash out and snap. Now, and that's the main, that is one of the issues that tie into this, is that um Will already had a lot of stuff on his mind. He's already going through a lot. We don't know if he's going through something health wise, because men don't always disclose their health issues. Men don't like to really talk about health and any mental illnesses. Men have always been secretive creatures when it comes to their health. I've known many men who known they had an illness or had a sickness and would not tell their wives, would not tell their children anything. And by the time the wives and the children find out, they already in hospice, or they done died in their sleep. Having a medical condition, men got too much pride to tell women what's going on, tell their wives, tell people they trust what's going on with them health wise. And some of them, they don't even go to the doctor at all to even keep up if there is anything going on. Some men just hate doctors. They don't go do they don't get the regular annual physicals done. They don't want no doctor touching their scrotum sac, touching their dick. They don't want, you have men who hate going to tending to their medical well-being and their mental well-being. And it comes back to haunt them in the worst way, which is why it's more men that pass away than women, because they don't go and get themselves checked. They're more concerned with providing for their families, working, bringing in a steady paycheck. But what good is your paycheck as a husband, as a father, if one day you end up, flat out dead somewhere? You passed away from a heart attack in your sleep or something because you've got so much stress. You're so busy taking care of your wives, taking care of your children. You ain't taking care of yourself. You're neglecting yourself. And what good is you to your family if you are neglecting yourself and you were to pass away, where your family is now left having to struggle providing for themselves because you're no longer here to play your position as a husband? So when we talk about these toxic marriages, Will has gone through a lot, and it's bad enough that he's going through it, but the worst of it is the world knows everything. And Will has been doing just what he said, putting up this smile, pretending he's okay, and underneath he is crumbling like the Twin Towers. Okay. And this particular incident, it displayed that this man been suppressing all of this anger, harboring all of this hurt, harboring all this pain. Now, I'm not saying all of this as a way, as an excuse to empathize with them or sympathize with him. But what I'm saying is, when you are married, and this goes for anybody who's married, this goes to people that are thinking about marriage. When it comes to marriage, realize that marriage is a spiritual bonding. It's a spiritual union. Ladies, it's more than this picking out your bridesmaids, picking out the most expensive dress, what nail color you're going to wear, what place you're going to choose for the venue. That is just the wedding. No different from you men who feel like now you got a wife, that your wife is now your slave. That's about it. Supposed to cook for you, clean for you, iron your clothes, start your drawers, give you sex, give you head whenever you want it. That's not all of what marriage is about. And I think that is the problem with society today. You have so many men and so many women who got their own definition of what is considered as a marriage. And the truth is, a lot of people have went into marriage for all the wrong reasons, and at some point or another it comes back to haunt you. If you just went into that marriage for security, it's going to come back to haunt you. If you just went in that marriage for money, it's going to come back to haunt you. If you went into that marriage because you don't want to be lonely, it's going to come back to haunt you. Anytime you go into a marriage with an agenda, it's not going to last, or either if it does, it's going to constantly be a power struggle. And if not, it's going to be a struggle of. And it sounds like to me that Will has been struggling with struggle love for a very long time, because you have some people that are like this. You have some people that once they get married, they are in it for life. They don't care come hell or high water. They're going to be dedicated regardless to the end. And if you're one of those ones, and again, there's nothing wrong with that. So death to you part. There's nothing wrong with being a dedicated companion and being willing to endure the good times and the bad times. Because anybody who's been married for a long time can tell you, the good times and the bad times both come hand in hand. You can't only want to be married. You can't only want to be a wife or a husband as long as things are going great, as long as there's money in the bank, as long as you both are living good and doing good. You got to still be husband and wives when things go wrong. You still got to be a husband or a wife. If your companion lose their job, God forbid, y'all lose a child that y'all had together through death, you lose a parent. It don't matter what transpires. Marriage is all about being able to endure the good and the bad. So as I stated before, when you marry, two comes together as of one. And this is why the Bible states this, is that once a man and a woman become intimately involved, they are as of one. And this is why marriage, really, sex is really supposed to be for married people. Sex is designed for married people. But again, we are in a world that has narratives. Everybody's promoting their own narratives. Well, you got to test the waters out and all this and that, or nothing wrong with shacking up. Do you, whatever you choose, however. But when we do things outside of the order of God, this is the consequences that we have to deal with. So, nevertheless, when y'all come as of one, that means y'all are one body, okay? Even though physically, you know, you are your own person and he is his own person, spiritually, you are as of one. So, with that being said, when one of you defiles the bedroom, defiles the marital vows that y'all made before God, if one of you in any shape or form, whether if it's having inappropriate conversations, whether if you're physically involved with another individual and you think because you're not in a relationship with that person, no matter how many times y'all have sex or adultery outside of the marriage, you don't think there's anything wrong with it because you made that person aware that you got a husband, you got a wife, so that person that you're having sex with outside of your marriage cannot expect any more from you. That is still a violation of your vows, of your marital vows. So when anybody makes any of these type of violations, whether if it's physical, emotional. Let's say if you didn't have sex with this person, but you've been talking to this person so much, you got feelings for them. You're bonding with them. You're telling them everything that's going on at home. Well, he's not pleasing me or she's not making me happy. You're confiding in an outside individual more than your wife or your husband. That is grounds for defiling the bedroom. That is adultery. It just does not have to be sex. It can be both or one or the other. Okay? It does not matter. So whenever a violation has taken place, no different than being in a car accident, right? You're driving a vehicle and you hit a pothole, and that pothole has caused your vehicle to steer off the road and you crash and you hit a tree or something. Because of the accident, the injury you suffered, let's say you have a broken leg from that incident. Because that leg is a part of that body, now that leg has to be removed from that injury, that severe impact that took place in that collision. Realize the rest of your body, even though it's functioning well, you still got your heartbeat, you're still breathing, you still got one of your legs, you still got both of your arms. But keep in mind, now because that one leg, your body has been disfigured, even though you can still live without that leg, but you'll never be able to walk the same. That means just like an accident where you're going to have to get physical therapy and learn how to walk, learn how to function without that leg, that is the same way with marriage. Once there has been a collision, meaning a violation, an injury, meaning adultery, now y'all are going to have to find a way to psychologically and mentally and emotionally be able to deal with this new impact. And trust is like a piece of paper. Once it's been crumbled up, you can take that crumbled up paper back out the trash can and you can unwrinkle it. But guess what? That paper is never going to be back to its same original state. So you have the ultimate decision to decide to still hang in there, endure the bad times, because sometimes when you have experienced an injury to your marriage significant enough, there's nothing left but to go up, because guess what? You both have experienced the worst of the worst. Now, some people can experience a marital injury and they can still progress. And even though it's a hard journey, it's a difficult journey, they both are willing to do the work and do what it takes. Now, if you're a couple that's willing to do that, don't let outsiders and people make you feel bad. Well, why would you stay with him after she did that? Why would you still stay with her after you did that? Because there's no guarantees if you get into another relationship that you're not going to experience an injury with them. If not the same, possibly worse, because you're dealing with human beings. And I get it. You got people, once a cheater, always a cheater, and this and that. And that is true, but that's not always the case. You get some people who learn from their mistakes. They learn, making bad decisions, how bad it has affected the trust in their marriage, how bad it has created other additional problems that they wasn't prepared to deal with. You got some people, all it takes is one time to get burned and they learn. And you have others that are habitual cheaters. Once you give them a chance, they're going to keep taking advantage. They're going to keep lying. They're going to keep violating you. They don't even care about losing you at this point, because they know no matter what you do, you're going to be right there. And I think that is basically what's going on with Will Smith. Jada Pinkett knows she has Will Smith's heart hostage. And she's been holding his heart hostage for years. And he's been allowing that. And what's been going on is he's folding. He's unraveling. And he's tried to hide behind it through the perfect red carpet husband family role. Stepping out onto the red carpet, wearing the best suits, got his children with them, family man. His family may have been a number one reason why he's taken all of this disrespect, why he's taken all of this, collateral damage, is because you have some men that are family men. Now, the truth is, a lot of men don't want to hear this, but you have some men out here that are just as vulnerable and weak as women. Like, you have women are known to stay in unhealthy marriages for the most part. Women are willing to take more than men. This is just a fact. It doesn't make us weaker or less intelligent. It's just that women, our emotions are wired differently from men, and vice versa. So we're willing to deal with things that they won't deal with, and vice versa. That is just the nature in us. So believe it or not, I'm running into more men that are not leaving women who have disrespected them multiple times. I know men in my family. I have a family member whose wife has cheated on him multiple times. With other men in my family, with men outside of my family during his duration in the military. She's had multiple affairs on him while he's been deployed. And no matter what, he's still with her to this day. And you just have some men that their pride is so jacked up. Instead of them having pride and not allowing themselves to be with women who have disrespected them, who have defamed their last name, who have basically disrespected them as wives. Some men don't have enough pride to walk away. Some men, their pride is wired in a dysfunctional manner, in which I'm not leaving my wife because she's my wife. I'm not leaving her because I chose this woman. This is the woman I want to be with. You have some men, their pride directs them the wrong direction. Instead of them taking that pride, like, I'm not about to be humiliated. I'm not about to be out here protecting and defending a woman who has embarrassed me, who has been smashing other dudes. You have some men, they look at it like this. They feel like the dude that's smashing a woman is trying to take their wife. So their dysfunctional pride would make them believe, oh, I know he thinks he can take my woman because he smashed my woman, he built my woman, but I'm going to show him that, yeah, I know you might have smashed my woman, but guess what? My woman is never leaving me, and I ain't never leaving her. So you'll be surprised how some people, their pride will go the wrong direction. And you have some men that are like this. I've known a young man one time, when he met the young lady that he was dating, she was already pregnant from another man. He wanted her so bad because he was like a square guy. He wasn't that attractive. He wasn't used to women of her look that gave him attention. And because she was willing to be with him only because she put herself in a bad predicament, he was so infatuated with just the way she looked, he was willing to be the fall guy, to be the stand-up man. So of course, during the duration of their relationship, he raised the little boy that wasn't his. Then they had two little girls together. So in his mind, he thinking he conquered something, and not realizing all along why he's thinking he conquered something, because she was really pretty. He wasn't used to getting attention from women that looked like her. All along, she was using him. She was using him because she couldn't do any better, and the guy that she wanted, he had moved on. So she played the role for a long time, and while his heart was genuinely in it, he's being a stepfather to her son that's not his, plus he's taking care of the children they had together. He's thinking he has finally arrived, and all this time she was being more and more defiant because she was miserable with him. She got tired of playing the role. She got tired of putting up this front like she genuinely wanted to be his wife. Once she got used to him being this Captain Save him, got used to him paying the bills, once he started doing everything that she couldn't get the other guy to do who she really wanted, and after a while, it just got old to her, because when you really don't have any interest in somebody, and you really genuinely don't love them, no matter what they do for you, it's going to get old, because this is the saying goes, money can't buy you love. You have to have something there that's more edifying, that's something more real, because money or not, if the connection is real and the love is real, you can see past the struggles. You can see past the good times and the bad times. But if you're only with that person to secure the bag, but you're not really feeling them, you're not really in love with them, after you done secured the bag, or once you done got used to them spending money on you, you're going to get tired of them. And it came a point where she got tired of acting like she was into him. And she started mistreating him. And he couldn't put his fingers on, well, damn, I'm doing everything right. I'm providing. I'm paying the bills. I'm taking care of her. I'm being a stand-up guy. I'm taking care of her son. That's not mine. I'm taking care of the kids we got together. I took her away from a life of poverty, because she was in poverty at the time. Like I said, she was a single mom, still staying with her parents, and she was in a struggle. So he, again, and you have a lot of men who think that way. They think because they pick a woman up from poverty that, they have accomplished something. But what happens is you accomplished yourself into being incel. This woman is just going to use you, and that's basically what happened. And it came a point to where she got tired of using them. Do you realize if a woman is really not into you, she can get tired of using you? You buying her flowers, trying to take out to dinner, doing little things to try to keep the spark going, because you notice she's acting distant. You notice she kind of treating you like garbage, and she doesn't want to be intimate with you. You want to do nice little things with her. She has an attitude. It's because she's tired of pretending. She's tired of acting like she loves you and want to be with you like that. It's making her coochie dry. Trying to make you believe that she into you. She playing the role, to keep you providing and everything. But now it's past the point of no return where she's tired of providing, you know, and you start feeling disrespected, and she's going to do a few things to keep increasing that disrespect. After a while, she's tired of pretending. She's going to actually have another dude on you, start seeing somebody on you, or she's going to still be low key dealing with the guy who she really won't, you know, trying to make you believe that they're just friends. That's just her child's father. Is nothing there. Um, and just basically the disrespect is going to continue to keep manifesting because she's really not into you. And you beating yourself up, you down on yourself, you can't understand. You doing everything right. Why this woman does not desire you? Why this woman acting like she don't love you? Why she act like she don't want to be with you? Basically because you took her, you was willing to accept her from a broken place. And there's nothing wrong with that, but keep in mind, you have to be aware what position you in. Sometimes you pick somebody up from poverty, you picking somebody up from a broken place. Some people are appreciative when you are there for them in a broken place, and then you have others that consider that as a weakness. Like, damn, you know what I mean? This dude picked me up from nothing, and he sees that I'm treating him like garbage, and he's still kissing my ass. He's still running behind me like a little puppy, you know. You have some people that disrespect, they don't consider your generosity as kindness. They consider it as a weakness, especially when you're dealing with a dysfunctional type of guy or dysfunctional type of female. And what tends to happen is once a person has put themselves out there for a person who they really love, and they're not getting that in return because they're coming to the conclusion that, okay, this woman really not feeling me like I thought. This man really not feeling me like she thought. This is when it becomes toxic. Is when you see all the disrespect a person has been giving you, you're still willing to stand the test of time. Not because this person has learned, they turned over a new leaf, they're treating you better than they did, they're showing you more love than they ever did, they're showing you the same appreciation, the same gratitude. Not only can you see it, you can feel it. You can feel this woman wants you. You can feel she desires you. You can feel she love you. That she just doesn't have you in her life as a purpose of providing. That she has you in her life as a purpose of being a companion to her. When you start, when that realization, that you realize that that woman or that man's not showing you that same gratitude, this is where it becomes toxic because you still want to stay. Because your pride, if not your pride, your image, what other people see about you, what other people think about you, especially men like Will, who have made a lot of accomplishments. You have to realize this man came from Philly. This man struggled. This Will, he didn't have a relationship with his father. He's accomplished a lot that a lot of black men in his situation has not accomplished. So men that are used to being successful, they think they can achieve everything. And guess what? Guys of success, you cannot achieve everything. Just because you got a doctrine, you are a lawyer, you own businesses, that's great. You accomplish everything as far as success, but it does not mean your toxic, narcissistic wife or companion is going, that doesn't mean you're going to have a success story with them. That's part of life. You're going to be successful in some areas and you're going to fail in other areas. And that, I think that's one of the biggest problems. Will Smith, he's going to fight and hang in there because he does not want to lose. He grew up struggling without a father, grew up struggling to get to where he is in his life of success. He does not want to fail at anything, but it's going to come with a price. He's going to be miserable because when you try to hold on tightly to something that's not good for you, it poisons you. What happens when you eat too much bad food and you know you're not supposed to keep eating it? What happens to a diabetic if you're not watching your sugar intake and you know you're not supposed to have a certain amount of sugar, but you keep drinking certain things and eating certain things? What happens if you're smoking cigarettes and the doctor already told you you got to cut out on your smoking because you're having lung issues, bronchitis, and all this other stuff? And anything that's not good for you, and you're still willing to work with it, you're still willing to try to conquer something that you know is poisonous to you, it's going to kill you. Keep eating bad food, knowing you're obese. Keep drinking alcohol, knowing your liver, your kidneys is gone. All because you don't want to let go, because you done got addicted to that thing, and the very thing you got addicted to is killing you. Will became addicted to Jada. He was infatuated with her beauty. He was infatuated with her aura. He became obsessed with this woman in a dysfunctional way. And this is not to say that there's nothing wrong with being totally in love with your wife, totally in love with your husband. But it's unhealthy when you're willing to be so in love with them that they can drag you and dog you and treat you all kind of way while you're still proving and showing your love to them. Something is wrong with that. You're supposed to be in love with a person who's in love with you. They're showing you that same in return. Not you doing all the love, not showing you all the gratitude, but this person is having entanglements on you and still acting like they have an obsession with an old boyfriend who done passed away years ago. What it is, Will never felt like he could measure up to what Jada really wants. He wants to be what Jada desires. And he's been struggling to fulfill those shoes. He's tried everything to do it. He's been successful. He's put it in the house. He's given her the kids, the last name. Everything he has given her, he still cannot get a grip on why. He still can't be the apple of her eye. And when she had that entanglement, whatever little bit of worth he did have, she took the rest of that. And it doesn't matter how much he smiles on the red carpet. It doesn't matter how much he got to say he loved his wife. Look, for that whole incident that went down, even Ray Charles can see. She done tore that man's spirits to shreds. And what she's been trying to do is hold him up in her own narcissistic way by making it seem like we're a team no matter what. I guess we are a team because you done got to do whatever you wanted to do. You done got to disrespect me. She said during the Red Table Talk how being with August Alsina, she just wanted to feel good. This man, her husband, was sitting across from the table and heard her say that. You don't think that's not killing that man? His spirit has been on life support. And that incident when he attacked Chris Rock, he flatlined right there. And the very fact that he said, when you have to keep a smile on your face and pretend everything's okay. That's the problem, Will. It is not just with this. You've been doing that the last, I guess, 3-4 years, especially since this entanglement came out. You already had to compete with Tupac, a man who been gone for years that your wife still in love with, you never could measure up to. Then when she got August Alsina, a young man that ironically, if y'all really look, he resembles what Will used to look like back in his younger days. Think about it. Light skin, good hair kind of. He resembles the young Will Smith. Light skin, tall. She wanted that renewed version of Will Smith. Only more spunkier, younger, a little on the thug side. Pretty boy. This man has basically she ripped him. She has ripped his spirit and now is manifesting into his masculinity. This man is torn. He's crying out for help. And right now, he's making his image and his marriage more important than his health and mental well-being. Hopefully from this, he doesn't resort to other things to try to cope, because at this point, he can't smile and pretend it's okay now because he has allowed the whole world to see what angers him. And what's going to happen is people are going to play on that. They're going to finish ruining him. Especially those who still feel some type of way. Look at all these comedians that's coming out and disrespecting his wife even more. Corey Holmes did a whole damn stand up or whatever, just calling Jada all the most degrading names. So the very thing that Will Smith fought for to protect his family, he just opened a can of worms, because if anything, it's going to make his family more of an attack. He did not protect his family when he made that move. Now, he made a mockery out of his family. It was bad enough she did. He finished it off. And people can sit up here, oh, he was protecting his wife. He protected his wife. He protected his wife. He defended his wife. But look at the cost. And there's nothing wrong with a man defending his wife. It was the manner in which he chose to defend her. Y'all can say what y'all want to say. Y'all can say it's not going to counsel him. Y'all can say, well, he didn't hit a black man. I mean, he didn't hit a white man. He didn't hit a trans or nothing. So he's not going to be counseled. But his spirit, and this is the part y'all are not going to see, his spirit is forever shattered. It's not about the image. It's not about if the industry is going to counsel him or not. Will Smith is going to have to live with himself. Can he live with himself after this? We're not talking about if the Oscar awards are going to penalize him. All of that's well and done. But he has to live with that, because you got to remember, Will Smith walked a fine line for many years compared to most men in this industry. He's never got caught up in any scandals. He's never been up for rape, murder, DUIs. This man maintained a strong, positive reputation for years. And you know why he did? It's because he fought hard to keep it that way. It wasn't because he was just a great person. He fought hard to keep it that way. But one temporary moment of insanity, because Jada still wants him to prove to her that she's worth everything, even though to this point he still feels like he's not worth of nothing to her. But he still feels like he has to keep reassuring her, even though she was the one who violated him, that she is still worthy. And meanwhile, he's feeling worthless. The worst position any man or woman could put themselves in is to make somebody who violated you, make them feel worthy while you feel worthless. All this time, he's building her and healing her, but at the same time, he's crumbling, he's folding, and he's destroying himself. Trying to hold her up is tearing him down. I don't care how much you love your husband or your wife, your health and your mental well-being comes first. But when somebody has violated you and and taking advantage of you, you can't heal in the same place that has broken you. I think Jada posted something recently about this is the time for healing. He's never going to heal being in the same place that destroyed him. Think about it. If you started doing crack or doing dope in the hood, why would you go back there or sit around them same people that smoke dope or do crack? If you know obesity, being obese is taking a toll on your health, why would you keep going to places that have non-nutritional food like cakes and salty food and greasy food? Why would you go to a buffet that's serving nothing but bad food instead of you going somewhere to get you a salad or you to another restaurant that provides more nutritional options? You cannot heal in the same place that has broken you. And I don't care what Will does. He can be for better, for worse. He can be ride or die, stand up man, but he's going to continue to struggle. This incident right here is the tip of the iceberg. And from here is going to continue to crumble. And it's not so much a success. I'm sure he'll still get movie roles. I'm sure he'll still, still maintain his celebrity status, but his mental well-being and his health, if he doesn't get a grip and face the reality of how everything in his marriage has changed him to this point to make him be the man that he is today, he's going to continue to keep crumbling. And I say this for all men and all women. There's nothing wrong with being dedicated to your wife, dedicated to your husband. But when it starts taking a toll on you to where you're doing things outside of your character, all because you want to prove a point so bad to everybody else who does not believe in your marriage. I'm to the point, well, who the hell are you trying to convince? Us or yourself? It comes a point where you have to make your reality become more important than your image. Instead of you want to look like you happy, but are you sincerely happy? You want to look like you're in a good place, or do you really want to be in a good place? You want to keep looking the part, or you want to be at peace? Which one? Eventually, he's going to have to make a choice, because after all this is said and done, eventually it's going to die down. Life is going to go on. Chris Rock is going to go on. But my thing is, he's going to have to live with this. He's going to have to live with this. And it's going to keep eating him up like cancer. If he knows that everything that has been done to him in his marriage, and he's still trying to overlook it, he's still allowing his pride or his masculinity to overshadow it, it's going to keep taking him under. And we've heard all 1,000 stories where he cheated too. They had an open marriage, yada, 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 yada. Well, only thing I know is this. So far, it's only been all of Jada's shenanigans that has been exposed. Now, if he's been with a woman or he's had women, none of them have come forth. But we know everything that Jada has done thus far has been the most exploited between the both of them. And maybe he's saying that as that's damage control. I don't want people to think that it's just my wife who doing all wrong. I did my wrong too. Anything to make himself not look weak, anything to not make his wife look bad, he's willing to do that. But at this point, it's really making him look bad. He's unfolding. He's unraveling. And I would say this to any man or any woman that's in a toxic marriage. Do not allow your marriage to impact your health, your wealth, and your mental well-being. Anyway, y'all, I'm going to get ready to shut it down. It is your girl, your diva and knowledge, Lady Mocha, representing Mocha's Cafe de Paris. Please make sure y'all hit that like button before you leave. Be praying for Will and Jada, for God to give them peace with the situation. Definitely praying for Chris Rock. I know his family is not taking it well, and that's to be expected. I'm sure if I saw my brother or my sister in that situation, I would totally feel some type of way. But y'all, this is going to continue to get interesting. It's far from over. This is just the beginning. I believe he opened the gates of karma on himself with this one. But you know, in all due time, we will see how it goes. Not wishing the best or the worst for either. Actually, I'm wishing the best. I will say that. I'm wishing the best. I'm hoping everybody finds their place with this. They learn from this. They grow from this. But anyway, leave y'all comment below. Let me know what you think. It's your baby knowledge, Lady Mocha, signing off. Mocha's Cafe de Paris. So I'm always serving you knowledge. Thank y'all for a slice of truth. Y'all take care of you.